Friday, February 4th here in Canada. All seems quiet on the Western Front, so to speak, out west and across the country. Although more protests are forming in all kinds of cities across Canada. It's really spectacular to see. No word from the government, from Trudeau, other than, no, we're not even going to entertain discussing this matter. Yeah, okay. So, Tamera Lich, you may have seen her name or her face, founding member, driving force, and part of the organization of managing the truckers' rally. The press continues to try to vilify her. And I'm not sure today whether the GoFundMe campaign has been reopened or not. I'll come back to that. I just want to talk about Tamera for a minute. Now, I've been watching her closely, of course. I don't know her personally. I've had no interaction with her, but I see her in videos. And when she's talking to someone, on the street at a rally or something, she's just like, relaxed, calm, she's articulate, obviously bright, very relaxed, comfortable. It looks like if you bumped into her at the grocery store and you were a neighbor or a casual acquaintance, you could talk about political matters, the weather, whatever. No polished political glad handing going on, when she's talking to the public. And when she gives a press release, and actually I saw her speak yesterday on CTV News, no less, one of the mainstream media. Wow, yeah. And she gave a little 5-minute thing. She had to pretty well read off of her notes. You can see she's uncomfortable in that public position. Again, not a polished sociopathic politician by any stretch of the imagination. The fund itself, now, as of yesterday, I just woke up, I'm behind the times. Trudeau government had attacked it again, saying it was a racist group. The first time they attacked it and shut it down, it was a terrorist group. Yeah, well, standard military strategy there, cut off the supply chains, right? There's a battery of lawyers involved now. And, there's no way Tamera or anyone can dip into these funds. The press a day or two ago had said, oh, she's missing in action and the fund is shut down. And, yeah, okay, right. Furthest thing from the truth. So, now, as a tactic to shut that fund down, a lot of people are going to look at it and go, well, gee, maybe I better not send in my $100. It might not, just go into one sock land, or maybe the enemy will get it. So instead, they, take a box of butter tarts down to the local rally or where the truckers are gathered or whatever part of the convoy. And they then, meet and talk with their fellow citizens. They see the people that's there from all walks of life, all social strata, every creed and color, Again, the opposition, the government of Trudeau, it's a KKK. You'd think the Ku Klux Klan came out of their graves. It's a white extremist, prejudiced, racist. Well, you go look at the people gathered there. It's the furthest thing from it. So the guy, instead of contributing his $100 and then sitting back and saying, well, hey, I did my bit, instead he's now involved. He took his butter tarts down there. So it actually works counter to the efforts to stymie the fund. Craziness. And I'd like to just really briefly say, I know you're outside the country, you're not terribly interested in how our political structure works, but the opposition party just gave the boot to their leader and have put a new one in, and hopefully this will unify the opposition and they can kind of get their act together, But in the meantime, more people are headed to Ottawa this weekend. The movement only grows in strength as it incurs the ire of the government response, or lack thereof, just further incentivizes more people to join, because how can you sit back as a ruling party and ignore so many people? I'm reminded of the French Revolution. Oh, what was her name? The Queen. Oh, what was her name? Off with her head. Oh, I should have done this video. I should have woken up a little more. The peasants had gathered at the castle. They were starving to death from being overtaxed. And she said to one of her, staff, what are the peasants so upset about? They kind of cautiously said, well, the peasants are out of bread, madame. She said, well, then let them eat cake. Oh, why can't I think of her name? The end result, she ended up with her head in a basket. And so anyways, that's today's update. And I've got some more coming. But for the moment, everything looks peaceable and stable here in Canada. And I think you can understand and forgive me for being vacillating between positivity and negativity. There is still the possibility Trudeau, in his desperate bid to cling to power, will declare an emergency act of some force, call out the military, and we'll be at civil war. And after 2 years of the Canadian people suppressing their fears and angers, to be able to openly express them again and have hope, I mean, it's a heady experience. Once again, thanks from Canada for the concern and the support, and thanks for listening.